everyone, my name is Marian Guevara. A huge welcome to anyone who is a new subscriber, to anyone who is just clicking on this video, and a huge thank you to anyone who is returning. First of all, this is a new background, so I'm gonna see how I like it. Maybe I'll continue using this background in subsequent videos. Maybe I'll return to the other one. Let me know down below which one you prefer. I'm now in front of like the proper bookshelves. But anyway, today I'll be doing a mid-year book haul showing you the books that I have acquired since my last one that I did towards the beginning of the year. I have acquired quite a number of books, and I'm just going to say these aren't all the books. In fact, there are exceptions. So I will not be showing the books that I have already featured in other videos just to avoid repetition. So no, The Way of the Dan, no, The Book That Wouldn't Burn, no, The Book That Broke the World, just to save time. And I won't be showing you the books that I have hauled but then unhauled, because I do that regularly. I do sort of recycle the shelves. So yeah, without further ado, let's just move on to the book haul proper. So the first book that I'm going to show you is my current read at the moment, and that is Engine Summer by John Crowley, part of the SF Masterworks line. This is a sci-fi post-apocalyptic novel that reads like a fantasy. We're following a man named Rush That Speaks who lives in this very quiet, peaceful community called Little Bel Air, and he decides one day to leave his community and then go on a pilgrimage. And he's going on this pilgrimage through the remnants of human civilization. And this is definitely a book that will leave your head scratching. You know, the gears in my head are really being forced to grind. But despite all that, it has touched my heart. I actually do enjoy Engine Summer, even though I may not know entirely, exactly what is going on. I think this would be an excellent book to, kind of study. The next book in the haul is a new addition to my Foley Society collection, and that is A Circle in the Fire and Other Stories by Flannery O'Connor. For those who don't know, Flannery O'Connor is one of my favorite authors of all time. She's primarily thrown into the genre of Southern Gothic, even though during her time she rejected that label. Her stories often feature characters that are considered freakish, grotesque, but her stories themselves explore the themes of grace and faith. So here we have a selection of her short stories. They're not complete, but yeah. I had no idea that Foley Society put out a collection of O'Connor stories, and I saw this on eBay. Someone was letting go of this for way below the retail price. They were accepting offers. They accepted mine, and I paid for what is probably the cheapest I will ever pay for a Foley Society book. The art was done by Diana Staffo, and I'm just going to show you bits of that artwork. I think it's quite fitting to the tone of the book, the stories. So yeah, I'm very happy to have gotten this. I always try to get my favorite authors, favorite books in Foley Society, and this certainly counts. Next, we have another special edition, and that is Holy Terror by Sherry Priest. I'm so sorry for the glare, but this is a Subterranean Press book, so it is signed and it is numbered by the author. And I got this one for more than half off the original retail price from Facebook. So Sherry Priest, I haven't read from her before, but the two genres that I often hear associated with her name are steampunk and horror, and that greatly interests me. I enjoy both of those genres, and I thought I'd give Sherry Priest a go. But instead of a novel, I decided to go for a short story collection, because I think short stories are a great way to sort of get a taste of the author's style without committing to a novel. So we'll see if I end up really liking the short stories here. But yeah, that's Holy Terror. Moving on to another special edition, we have the LitDroid Crate version of The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. I did unhaul my regular hardback in order to get this one. And yeah, I wanted the LitDroid Crate version not only because of the beautiful sprayed edges, but I do enjoy the original hardback cover, and I do feel that the end pages capture the tone and the spirit of the book much better than, I guess, the Illuma Crate, which also did a version of this. This one is also signed with a letter from the author. But yeah, really enjoyed The Last Tale of the Flower Bride, one of my favorite books of last year. And this is often put in the fantasy section for some reason. I don't know why. This is very much literary fiction, but with a lot of allusions to fairy tales. So yeah, just letting you know if you're interested in The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. Next, we have Phantom by Susan Kay. Now, this is a sort of backstory / retelling of Eric, who is, the character that is the Phantom of the Opera from Gaston Leroux's novel of the same name. So this one I actually read back in high school, and I remember really enjoying. I remember thinking that this is actually good. This isn't really cringe, because I feel that a lot of Phantom of the Opera retellings they could lead towards, cringe. However, I thought this one was very well executed. It has been years since I read this, so I'm looking forward to rereading it and seeing if I feel the same way. But yeah, this one is probably my favorite cover. It's a great hardback, the bright red, the bronze mask, the lady embossed on it, cradling the mask. Beautiful edition, and I'm looking forward to a reread. Next, we have Wizard's Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. This is a bind-up of the first 2 books in the Howl trilogy. And I got this one for 2 reasons. One, I love House Moving Castle. I enjoyed Castle in the Air. I didn't really care for House of Many Ways, so a bind-up of the first 2 just sounded perfect for me. And second, they actually have book Sophie here. They actually portray her, how she looks like in the book, or closer, basically. I love the Ghibli film, House Moving Castle. It's my second favorite Ghibli film. However, I do have a little pet peeve where, when people illustrate the book, but they just end up illustrating the film. Like when they portray Sophie with, the starlight hair, and that happens in the movie, not in the book. So yeah, I love it when editions of House Moving Castle portray the characters as they look like, as they are described in the book. So yeah. Next, we have The Thorns Remain by J.A. Harwood. I picked this one up because of Elliot Brooks. She mentioned this in one of her videos. This is a fantasy, more of like historical fiction fantasy, where this takes place after the First World War in Scotland, in the Scottish village. And this young woman, Maura Jean, and her friends go into the forest. Her friends get kidnapped by the Fae, and she's desperately trying to get them back. So I heard that this is much more slower, and I think it's much more dedicated to character building, so we'll see if I like this one. The next book is A Phantom Lover by Vernon Lee. This is my newest addition to the Tales of the Weird series that I'm collecting, and I would recommend these stories if you're into like Henry James or Edith Wharton, her ghost stories, because I think this collection does a great job. These stories do a great job of straddling the line between them being supernatural or these events being the result of, something more psychological. So if you're into stories like that, I recommend that you give A Phantom Lover a go. These stories also have a very sumptuous style to them. And if you're a fan of stories taking place in Italy, quite a number of these do. Next, we have some Regency romances, some Regency historical fiction with The Other Bennet Sister by Alice Hadlow, which I have already read. This book highlights or features Mary Bennet as the main protagonist. So for those who don't know, Mary Bennet is the middle sister of the Bennet sisters, often the one that is kind of forgotten or overlooked. So the first part of this book is actually a bit of a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. We are seeing the book, the story, through Mary Bennet's eyes. Hadlow sort of recontextualizes her decisions in that book. And in the second portion, we follow the events after Pride and Prejudice. When Mr. Bennet has died, the Longbourn estate, moves on to the Collinses, and all of the Bennet sisters are married except for Mary. And it is basically about her, trying to leave from the shadow of her sisters and sort of find happiness on her own. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. If you're into Pride and Prejudice retellings, if you're interested in Mary Bennet, yeah, check out The Other Bennet Sister. Next, we have Sylvester by Georgette Heyer. Now, this hasn't supplanted Friday's Child, but I will have to say that this is definitely up there as one of my favorite Heyers. So this one, we follow a woman named Phoebe Marlowe, and this man, known as Sylvester, the Duke of Salford, arrives at her estate, and it's been said that he is sort of in the market for finding a new wife, although Phoebe doesn't necessarily fit any of his qualifications, and it becomes very awkward because Phoebe, who has encountered Sylvester before, had secretly written a novel, and she based the villain off of him. And that little portion of the plot, you know, offers a bit of nice confrontation within the story. So yeah. So the next book I have here is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. Now, when this book initially came out and I was sort of listening for other people's opinions, I heard the description weird tossed around. And honestly, any fantasy that is described as weird, I'm probably going to enjoy. So Piranesi is about our main character, Piranesi, who lives in this house with labyrinthine halls, thousands of rooms. He even has like a hall that is just filled with an ocean. And he spends his time going through the rooms, going through these halls, cataloging and exploring, until one day something appears in his house, something he doesn't know, is unfamiliar with. I'm not entirely sure. I also heard that this book has an unconventional villain, basically. So yeah, looking forward to Piranesi. People who I follow on Instagram have lately read this and said they enjoy it. So hopefully I will get to this eventually. Next up, we have these two books, Night Voices, Night Journeys, and Inverted Kingdom. These are books 1 and 2, volumes 1 and 2 of the Lairs of the Hidden Gods series. These are tales or Japanese tales of the Cthulhu mythos. So Japanese authors taking a crack at the Cthulhu mythos. I don't really need to say anything other than that because that's already so intriguing. So yeah. And next we have Cage of Souls by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Already read this. This is my first Tchaikovsky that I have ever read. I picked this one up because two people from Bookstagram told me that it reminded them of Senlin Ascends. And so any book that reminds you of Senlin Ascends, please let me know down in the comments, okay? I am willing to try anything that will remind you of Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. But anyway, I have read it, and I do see a bit of the similarities in the two main characters. I mean, both Stefan and Tom, they're intellectuals. They're mainly like scholars. They're not really fighters or anything like that. They kind of have high opinions of themselves, and they are thrust into a situation that they are unprepared for in a place that is sort of trying their best to kind of grind them down, like defeat them. I will admit though that Tom has a more nobler spirit than Stefan, but yeah. Anyways, Cage of Souls makes use of the dying Earth premise. So yeah, Earth is dying. There's only one major human city left. It's called Shadrapar. However, Stefan has been arrested and is being taken to this floating island prison. And there he kind of has to learn to survive and learn to live, basically. And while that's happening, he's remembering past events that have led him to this prison. This book is considered like people's least favorite Tchaikovsky, and if that's the case, then I probably like the other Tchaikovskys because I actually really enjoyed this one, Cage of Souls. So yeah, looking forward to picking up another Tchaikovsky. And lastly, this is a book I recently got, and that is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Other Stories by Washington Irving. I basically got this because The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I don't know if anyone also watched that short from, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. I really enjoy The Legend of Sleepy Hollow segment. Ichabod Crane is such a interesting gray character in that short, and I want to read the original tale that it was based off of. So yeah, this is the Penguin edition, of course. So those were all the books from this book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know a lot of people are kind of just sick of book hauls, but I do think there is a bit of merit to them as well. I think they offer a good opportunity to sort of get a glimpse of what a person's tastes are when it comes to books, what stories appeal to them, whatever they may be. So yeah, I think it can be interesting, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, give a like, check out the channel, or leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!